Hello everyone. Welcome back to Identity Code Podcast. Welcome to a new season of Identity Code Podcast. And Happy New Year, I must say, even though it's coming a little bit late. So, we'll be opening this new season of Identity Code Podcast with the topic the cost of living with a false identity. The cost of living with a false identity. So, let's get right into it. Have you ever felt tired, not because of what you're doing, but because of who you're pretending to be? Not physically tired, but emotionally drained from showing up as a version of yourself that isn't real. Today, we are talking about the hidden cost of living with a false identity, which is like the price we pay when we wear masks to survive, to fit in, to be acceptable, or to feel worthy. And trust me, that cost is higher than most people realize. So, what is a false identity? False identity isn't always lying about your name or your background. It often looks like being confident on the outside, but insecure inside. It's being strong for everyone while silently breaking. It is becoming what people expect instead of who you really are. It is hiding your truth to avoid rejection or judgment. It is when your life becomes a performance instead of an expression, and performances are exhausting. So let me tell you the story of Sarah. Let me share the story of Sarah with you. Sarah was known as the strong one, always smiling, always helping, always positive, but behind closed doors, Sarah cried herself to sleep. She said yes when she wanted to say no. She acted happy when she felt empty. She stayed silent when she was hurting. Why? Because her identity became the strong one who doesn't struggle. And slowly, that false identity began to cost her. It began to cost her her peace, her voice, her joy, her authenticity. So one day, she said, I don't even know who I am anymore. I just know who everyone needs me to be. That's the danger of living with a false identity. False identities slowly erase the real you. So what is the real cost of living with a false identity? Let's talk about what it actually takes from you. The first thing it takes from you is emotional exhaustion. See, pretending is work. Smiling when you are hurting is a whole lot of work. Being who you are not is heavy. You weren't created to carry marks. Another thing it takes from you is loss of self. When you live for approval long enough, you forget your own voice. Your preferences fade. Your dreams begin to shrink. Even your truth becomes unfamiliar. So another thing it takes from you is broken relationships. When people connect to the fake version of you, they never truly know you. So even when you're surrounded by people, you still feel alone, because they love the mask, not the real person behind that mask. Another thing it takes from you is inner conflicts. See, your soul knows when you are not being authentic, and that's where anxiety rises. That's where peace disappears. That's why you feel restless. Your spirit is craving alignment. So why do we create false identities? It's very common than you think. Most people didn't choose it, they adapted to survive. I'll say that again. Though most people did not choose it, they adapted to survive. So we create false identity when we were rejected for being ourselves, or we were taught to hide emotions. We were praised only when we performed well. We were judged for our own truth. So we learned, let me become what is accepted. But survival mode is the same as living freely. Now let's discuss the freedom of returning to your true identity. Here's the good news. You can always come back to yourself. Healing begins when you ask, who am I without expectations? Who am I when no one is watching? Who am I beyond roles, titles, and people's opinions about me? Your real identity is where peace lives. Your real identity is where confidence grows. Your real identity is where joy becomes natural. I want you to try this today. Write down one way you pretend, one way you hide, one truth you've been afraid to live out loud. Then ask yourself, what would change if I showed up as my real self? Then write down small steps towards authenticity, because it will create massive inner freedom for you. So I'm going to close with this message. Living with a false identity might protect you temporarily, but it will imprison you in the long term. Know that you weren't created to perform. You were created to live fully, freely, and authentically. The world doesn't need another masked version of you. It needs the real you. And your real identity is more powerful than your fear. So be yourself. I hope this episode blessed you as much as it blessed me. And I hope to see you in my next episode. See you later.